you also played a new game from a company called 3D Realms.
Wow, I've never heard of them.
Renner, have you heard of this group, 3D Realms? They came by the office, and it's one of those things where it's like, hey, 3D Realms is coming in. It's like, I don't know what that means. Is Duke Nukem going to walk through the door? Is George? Yeah, is it George Broussard? Like, I have no idea who 3D Realms is at this point. So, who are they at this point in 2018, and what are they making?
Okay, all right. So to back up for a little bit, for viewers and listeners who don't know, 3D Realms was the developer who brought us like Duke Nukem 3D and Shadow Warrior, basically a bunch of the shooters that were responsible for making the game industry go from, like, say, Doom clones to first-person shooters. Like, they were the ones who really branched out that genre to something beyond Doom clones.
Some old Texas boys, right?
Yes.
Okay, the Texas first-person crowd.
Yeah, and so Iron Maiden, for a long time, they started making, like, 3D games and publishing games. Like, they actually produced the first Max Payne was another thing that they did.
Wait, what?
Yeah, way back when they produced the first Max Payne.
What do you mean produced?
Well, I mean, that's just what it says. They produced it.
But Remedy designed it?
Yeah, Remedy designed it and developed it. And I'm not sure. I don't think they.
I mean,
published it.
It must have been the same role as like a producer on a film, where they just helped, right? Oversaw it.
Oh, that's bizarre.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's not published. It's produced. It was interesting, but they did a bunch of stuff after like Shadow Warrior and the Blood. That it's kind of little stuff, and then Duke Nukem Forever happened, and no one really likes to talk about the game.
Well, no, it's Gearbox in theory.
Yeah, that was Gearbox and 3D Realms.
Okay.
So 3D Realms, basically, they had a complete talent change, and it's a completely different company now.
And they were going back and making.
And they're going back and making the way that their VP, Frederick Schreiber, came to pitch the game to us was like, okay, so go back to 1996 and imagine that we never got games like Quake or Half-Life. Like, shooters never went 3D, and we just kept on going with, like, sort of these sprite pixelated shooter games like Duke Nukem. This is what you get, and the game is called Iron Maiden.
Pretty good name.
Yeah, it's a choice they made, and it basically plays like Duke Nukem, but with like starring a woman who's a bomb disposal expert and has like crazy weapons. Like, one of them is a bowling ball, like small bowling ball that you can throw onto the ground, and it's a bomb that will home in on enemies and just make them explode. And it's just ludicrous and absurd. And
so it's goofy.
Yeah, it's goofy. It's goofy all the way.
It looks like it's from that era?
Yeah, no, because they didn't emulate the engine. They literally they improved the build engine, and then they made the game in it. So it's made on the same tech that made Duke Nukem.
Why would they do that?
Well, the way they said it is they felt like there is more level of craft in doing that. Like, every weapon is like handcrafted and painted and this or that, and the world feels more reactive, and it gives them more options with level design.
Yeah,
and they just really like the look of it.
I feel, okay, so Strafe was kind of going a slightly different thing, but it seems like kind of that throwback first-person shooter thing.
Yeah.
In terms of all the genres, it seems still relatively untapped for making old-school first-person shooter experiences. So does it feel like an improvement on that? Is it the broken age equivalent of this genre?
Yeah, I was talking with Cork about it when we did the new gameplay today, because like I played those shooters coming up, but I was more of the generation that came after, like Half-Life and those sorts of games were my jam. But when I was talking with Cork about it, he says, "Yeah, this seems authentic. This seems better." So I enjoyed my time with Iron Maiden. I thought it was very fun. I didn't really like Strafe that much as a throwback shooter because of the roguelike elements that they introduced.
Right.
But, this seems more like an authentic experience, like linear and really fun and goofy. And there are secrets everywhere.
Of course.
And the world's very reactive. Like, you can mess with anything you see, like control panels and stuff, and it'll give a reaction. Like, you can shoot it or go over and press it, which, I like.
Of course, yeah. You got to mess with toilets and stuff.
Yeah, but right now they have the whole game's not out yet. It's a weird thing. They're calling it early access, but what it is it's a 3-hour campaign that if you pre-order the game, you get access to, and it's standalone from the main game. So you have like a 3-hour campaign that you can just play through that has some of the weapons and enemies.
Disconnected from the main game?
Disconnected from the main game.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Reiner, are you more? I saw you wince when he said it's not quite early access. Just the idea of adding another category there.
Well, it's early access used to mean something, and now it's like just a general term used for any type of release. Like, a game could be beta, alpha, whatever the hell this is.
It sounds almost like a Ground Zeroes kind of situation.
Yeah, it's more like Ground Zeroes was how they presented it. Yeah.
How bizarre. And you seemed to do an interview you did. Was it with the producer?
Yeah, it was the VP Frederick. Yeah.
Okay. How would people find that interview?
It's online at GameInformer.com.
What should they Google?
What should they Google? 3D Realms and the Art of the First-Person Shooter.
Okay.
I believe is what we titled it.
And he's a passionate dude.
He is so passionate. He's just like very bubbly and smiling all the time when he's talking about, oh yeah, I love eviscerating people in first-person shooters. It's great. No, he's real good. Like he's really cool.
So it's cool to see like we're almost moving out of like NES callbacks, Super Nintendo callbacks, and now we're kind of getting into that almost 32, 64-bit era
with like
callback.
Never Stop Sneaking and stuff like that.
And this, I know this is like a little beyond like 64, but like it feels like we're kind of getting into that early 3D nostalgia now.
Who's going to bring back GoldenEye controls?
It's gonna happen.
Right? Can't play it any other way.
Basically, I guess, what was that? Oh, the split screen game.
Oh,
do you remember where like you don't have your own screen, you have to look and screen sheet?
Screen sheet.
Yeah, so like that's basically going for that type of vibe. Yeah, but finally we're getting to the good games to be remade. I agree, Reiner.
I can't wait till like 15 years from now when everyone's just sort of doing their own versions of the PlayStation 2 games or whatever. And you're just like, oh yeah, Beyond Good and Evil, but not Beyond Good and Evil.
Throwback to Uncharted 1, the good one, damn it.
The good one.
That's the subtitle.
Thank you so much for watching this excerpt from the Game Informer Show podcast. You can subscribe to the audio version and listen to new episodes airing every Thursday. We cover big games on the horizon, games that we've just reviewed. We have long-form developer interviews, a lot of fun stuff. So check it out every Thursday.